Hey everybody, it's Don again, and it's Friday afternoon, just shy of 4 o'clock. It's time for episode 15 of Practical Reality, and today we're going to be discussing sort of a deep subject. A deep subject with a very simple but powerful message. We're going to be discussing basically, what is the purpose of life? I watched 2 videos yesterday by a young man on YouTube, a young man named Grant Theriault, and he has interpreted some of Dr. Joe Dispenza's videos, and he made his own videos, like as I said, an interpretation of Dr. Joe's message, and I found it to be incredibly powerful, and that's what I want to discuss with you today. The only question is, can you actually accept what he has to say? Now, something that I have said in other videos is, one thing you must remember is that all answers lie within. The more that you seek validation from the external environment, the more you are out of alignment with your true purpose. Because allowing the environment to take control of your self-perception, your inner state of mind, results in 2 things. The first is that the events that have passed in your life that have filled you with fear, guilt, and shame, they are always on your mind, and you wonder whether or not these events are going to repeat themselves. Second is you're worrying about the future, and those events that have already occurred, you're wondering if they're going to repeat themselves, and you always have sort of trepidation as to what the future holds for you. So as you carry on your daily life, and you're locked into these 2 states of, number 1, worrying about past events and how they have affected you, and number 2, worrying about whether future events are going to be the same or anything's going to improve or not, then that locks you into a state of mind which you can't get out of very easily, especially when your ego is in control, and therefore you are never truly present. And it is only by living in the present moment that you can become the observer of your own mind and your own consciousness and your own ego, and then truly begin to affect the kind of change that you need to make in your life to make your life better and to fulfill the dreams that you have. Now, to understand why this is so, you must accept the fact that the external reality that we see is only a tiny, tiny fraction of all of the energy that is available in the universe. And therefore, to affect any real change in your life, you must derive your validation and your purpose from the energy field that remains hidden from sight, which is the quantum field. And that energy has been there and is always there and has been there since the beginning of time. Now, as I have also said in other videos, every thought that you have sends out a certain vibrational frequency. And each of those thoughts impacts the quantum field, which you can think of as potential energy. So every thought that you have sends out a vibration, and then you draw back. Every thought that you have then produces an emotion, and that emotion then draws back the experience from the quantum field, and you have a certain feeling as a result of that emotion. Now, if the thought that you have and the feeling or emotion that comes back from that thought are on the same frequency, then you're doing well. But if you have a thought about manifesting a better life, and the resulting feeling or emotion that comes back is a fear that you will never be able to manifest this life, then you are completely out of alignment, and it will be much more difficult for you to actually affect that real change. And the main reason that your thoughts and emotions are not on the same frequency is because you are allowing the external environment to determine which emotions you feel. So in order to align your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings on the same frequency, you have to get beyond the external environment. And that is what happens when you enter a meditative state. Now, as I said, this young man, Grant, was only going over what Dr. Joe Dispenza has said in previous videos. Entering a meditative state and making an attempt to get beyond the external environment is an attempt to reprogram your subconscious mind. And if your thoughts and emotions are not in alignment, then that reprogramming of your subconscious mind is needed, because the external environment is then responsible for the misalignment of your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza is very specific about what it means to enter a meditative state. In his guided meditations, he says you have to move your consciousness and become no one no thing, nowhere, and in no time. And that is your attempt to enter and connect with the quantum field, because within the quantum field, all possibilities exist. And you cannot be connected with this field if you are still connected to the external environment. Now, I have always believed that the energy that has existed since the beginning of time is a benign force. And if you want, you could call that benign force love. Other people might call it divinity or God. But no matter what you call it, it's clear that without this divine force or this benign force, we would not exist. And the point that the young man Grant was making in his videos, that if you become connected to the quantum field and become no one, nowhere, no thing in no time, you then become aligned with the true purpose of the universe, and that is love. And so then, to connect to that divine energy, that benign force, and connect to that love, you then discover that your true purpose is really to serve. Because think about it. Isn't the purpose of all love to serve in some way? Right? If you love somebody, don't you serve their needs? And if someone loves you back, and if you care about other people, you try to serve their needs, you try to help them in some way. This is what the benign force, the love of the universe, shows you. So then if you enter a meditative state and connect with the benign force, and you come to realize that your purpose is to serve, then you are in alignment with the true benign force of the universe and with your own true purpose. And then your mission becomes to align your own thoughts and feelings and emotions with that true purpose to serve on a 24/7 basis. And that is when you will be able to begin to affect real change in your life. And that for me was a real revelation, because I have my own thoughts and desires and dreams that I want to fulfill. But if you think about it, if you have everything that you've ever wanted, what would be maybe one of the main impulses that you might have? To give back. And I know many, many people think that way. So you may want to start giving back. And if you have that as a true purpose, as an intention, once you realize the dreams that you have, then you are far more in alignment with the true purpose of the universe and the love that exists. And if you are in that sort of alignment with your true purpose and the benign force of the universe, then you no longer need to expect or try to gain validation from the external environment. And you are free from the conflicting emotions that validation from the external environment causes. And now the final point that I want to make is that the ego is responsible for keeping you away from this benign force, connecting to a meditative state, and keeps you trapped in seeking validation from the external environment. The ego is addicted to the status quo and is therefore the main force holding you in that state of sort of like desperation, of always seeking that validation from the external environment, and the cause of the conflicting thoughts and emotions and feelings, which means that the ego is your worst enemy towards the fulfillment of your dreams, which is another thing I have said in previous videos. So if you want to take that journey, you must begin to try to understand what the meditative state is and what it means for you, and how important it is to your own particular individual purpose. And the first step in taking that journey is to begin to create the space in your mind to separate yourself from your ego and become the conscious observer of your ego. And then separate yourself from your ego in order to enter the meditative state and begin to align your true purpose with the force of the universe that shows you that your true purpose is to serve and to facilitate the love that is what the driving force of the universe is. I hope everybody was able to absorb all of that. I know it's kind of deep discussion. I hope everybody was able to, understand what I'm trying to say. And if you want to leave comments, and I would love have some more subscribers, and give us a like if you can. This is Don signing off for Practical Reality Episode 15. Everyone have a nice day and a nice weekend.